Good afternoon. It's almost evening, I think, yes. And this is the first episode of Don Ray and Marcella's Garden. Um, we live in an area, as you could see, nice neighborhood, quiet neighborhood. I'll just show you a piece of it. But where we live, the ground is hard rock. So we decided to use the method of raised beds to plant, our veggies and greens and stuff like that. So what I will do today, I will just take you through a quick tour of what we've done so far. And in a later video, we will show you a little bit more as to the progress of what's happening. So we can start from here. We have a 8 by 10 bed. And as you can see in the bed, we have three different seedlings growing here. In that area right here, we have onions, we have red onions and white onion bulbs. So these will be ready within 90 days, is about 3 months. So you will see later on in another video the growth of those onions. But if you could see well, you could see they're sprouting, they're growing well. Yep, I have this here. So these are the red onions. So we have both red and white onions. Across to the left, we have beets planted here. Right, and they're starting to push off nicely. In this area, in this white area here, we have carrots. We have carrots growing in this area here. And they're starting to push off nicely. In this area, we're supposed to put some sweet potatoes. We will experiment with raised sweet potato beds. So that's coming soon. In the corner here, we have a plantain tree, and the other tree is a Bajan banana, the small banana, but we will see what it does. So it's all experimental. Right here, across to our left, we have this beautiful 8 by 10 bed with cucumbers. The cucumbers are about 2 weeks now? About 2 weeks, going on to 3 weeks. And they're growing very well. We put trellises in rope, which I need to finish so that they can grow on the trellis very nicely, and we can get some lovely cucumbers. A little to the left, we have our banana tree here growing here, and we have okra trees, and in between the okra trees we have lettuce. Those small lettuce trees are sprouting nicely right here. Yeah. So we have lettuce sprouting. Sorry about the noise on the road, the traffic. Sprouting in between the okra trees. So they're growing nicely. A few more banana trees and lots of wood chips, because we have some more work to do with the little mountain of wood chips here. We have right here pumpkin. The pumpkin is growing on the trellis, so we can get more space to plant. We have one pumpkin that is growing here right now. Yeah, he's looking lovely. We provided him with a little support with stockings to support him while he's growing and hanging nicely there. In this bed, we're supposed to put lettuce, which is in the process of being planted so that we can transplant it into this bed. Right on the other side of this bed, we have watermelon. Lovely watermelon trees growing here. So this is the fourth bed. We go across to another set of banana trees, because the yard is relatively small. It's not really a big yard. You can see this is the first fruit bearing of the banana tree. This is our first banana tree, which has produced fruit. So we are hoping that the sister one will produce fruit soon. We're supposed to put some tomatoes here, cherry tomatoes hopefully. They can grow right here. Across here we also have squash. We have squash growing right here, and we also have pumpkin with the squash, and the pumpkin is trellising nicely on this trellis here. So let me just go back a little bit so you can have a view of what the trellis looks like. So this one is about a little bit above 6 feet. so we can get some more space, and which is in the back of the house. So we have pumpkin bean trellis right here, and as you can see, we have some lovely pumpkins growing here. We have another one, and of course, yes, we have them in stockings to support them and also to protect them from any pests there may be. There are some other little small ones, but they camouflage in the leaves, so we're gonna leave that for later. Right here we have another set of trellis, and that's for our string beans. We have string beans planted in this bed right here, and this bed is about 9 feet long. So we are not just planting for ourselves, but hopefully we can also share for persons, persons that we know who's unfortunate, who doesn't really have for themselves, which is what we've started doing. So we have a few rows of string beans planted here. And at the end of this, we have another set of watermelon, young watermelon growing here as well. And hopefully the watermelon can trellis on top of here to use that side of the trellis going also into the mixing with the pumpkin. There's no problem in that. They're family, so they can grow together. So I'll send another video with the progress of that as well. We have another experiment right here, and if you look closely, you can see that this is Irish potato. So we have Irish potatoes growing. Oh, these are just started sprouting right here. So we cover them with grass, or what we say, mulch, just so that the water will not mess up the soil too much. But they're growing right now. They just started growing, so that we'll have to send another video of later. And this is another bin with more Irish potatoes planted, but they are not sprouting as yet. So hopefully they will soon. They will sprout soon. And as we continue in the back of the yard, here in this bed right here, we have celery. We have celery planted in this bed. They're not pushing up as yet though. I think if you look here, we can see some celery. I think this one is parsley growing. So we have half of celery, half with parsley growing in this bed. We'll send another video with the progress of that. This bed is another bed made for seasoning pepper. So the seasoning peppers, they are very young. They just started growing from seed. So they are going to be transplanted in this area. This is my compost bin where I mix all my greens, my skins from food and so forth that before we cook, and we compost it. We put it into this bin here to compost so that we can get this compost to put in the garden. We're trying to be, it's all about being self-sufficient. Now here you all have me. We have here, I'm trying to remember the name of this plant, but we used to use it in gravy. We use it to make gravy.
Big leaf thyme.
It's called big leaf thyme. That's correct. So it's big leaf thyme, and below it right here we have the small leaf, or what you call marjoram thyme, the small leaf. So that is growing nicely here. Across here we have what the Bajans call it fern, but in St. Lucia we call it I'm trying to remember the name now. It's not coming. It's not registering. But we use it in cocoa tea, but especially when we're making cocoa tea. Lani. Then we call it Lani in St. Lucia. That's Lani growing there. Then we have ginger. Ginger sprouting nicely right here. Yep. And across the ginger we have turmeric or chichima that is growing as well. So. And in this bed, I have a sweet potato. So that is bed, but in this pot. So I'm going to transplant to the bigger bed in the back where I initially mentioned. So with some other plants, we're going to put them down and experiment with them. As we go across here, in this bed, we have chives, onion chives, that we cultivated recently. I think we must have shared with about, 7 or 8 persons? Yeah, 7 or 8 persons have received from this chive. And we have basil growing there. Broadleaf basil that is growing. Yeah, you can hear the little frog there, tiwing, ticky tick. So we just cut the chives recently, and now we have spinach, which we cultivated also. So the spinach and the chives went out to many different persons. Right. So some of the leaves, it can get very big. Actually, bigger than that, far bigger than that. In what we, these are small leaves. Yeah, but they're doing well. So I'll send another video later on to show the size of the leaves, because some of the leaves are giant leaves. They're actually bigger than the palm of my hand. This is the seedlings for the cherry tomatoes. You need to put this back for me. Right, for the cherry tomatoes. Across here we have a tomato bed right here. Let's just go across. Right. In here we have seedlings for eggplants. This is the eggplant seedlings, which we're going to plant a bit later. Just letting them grow a little so that they can be transplanted. But yes, we have here the tomato bed. It's just growing nicely across here. And this bed here, we have beets planted in here, and also a small tree of large broadleaf basil as well. These two beds. But we are actually going to put some more seedlings into this bed, because there's still some space in the back there that we could put some more seedlings for beets. But these beets are growing nicely. The leaves look very healthy. Yeah. Across here we have garlic bulbs. So they also will be ready in like 90 days. So the garlic bulbs, they're growing nicely. The garlic bulbs are actually a bit different to the garlic chives, but they're growing very well. I forgot to mention, let's just go back a little bit. As you could see here in the corner here, we have garlic chives, and the garlic chives, the leaves are thinner than the garlic bulbs. The garlic bulbs are the ones you buy in the supermarket. So these are the chives right here. I need to spread them because they are too much together, but I'll spread them later. Yeah. And now so we're gonna cross to another raised bed, which I built out of PVC pipe and cage wire with half drums elevated. And in here we have sweet pepper seedlings growing. And of course, yes, we have basil planted as well. Basil also of a way of keeping some insects from coming and infest your plants. So that's inside the bed, and you can see we have many small seedlings of sweet pepper growing in here. I think we're looking at somewhere around 28 or 30 trees also, because these are like four half drums. Yeah. And in our corner here we have different mints. Here we have one type of mint here, and these mints you can actually just chew the leaf, or you can make tea with it, or I guess put it in your salads and so forth. This one is another mint. That's the African.
No, that's the small leaf basil.
That's the small leaf basil. Sorry, my apologies. They call it basilic back in St. Lucia, but that one is actually from Africa. Yeah. And this is the twatas, the famous twatas. Used to make tea with that, man. So the leaves, yeah. And next to the twatas, we have a half drum here with onion. These are not onion chives, these are the onion bulbs. Right, you can see there's some big ones in the back. So that's the white onion bulbs, and this will be ready in 90 days as well. Yeah, so we will do another video to show you guys the progress of, you know, Don Ray and Marcella's kitchen. So you see, our space is not big. This is another part of the neighborhood. You see, we are close to another house, so our space is not big, right? And this is the yard. This is by the garage, you know, and this is part of the house and the yard. So the place is relatively small, but this is what it is. This is what we have, and we are thankful. We are grateful. Let me turn it around. So, so like I was saying, we are thankful. We are grateful. You know, and all what we are doing is not by our own strength, but by God. You know, by His hands, by the hands of God, we are fed, and we are thankful. We give praise to God for all what He is doing, and all that is not possible if He wasn't involved. I mean, yeah, it's true. All I do, I make the beds, I put the soil, I put wood chips in the soil and leaves, you know, to create the compost later on so that the soil can be healthy. And I put the seeds, and God do the rest. Everything you see that's happening there is actually God's hands. So I want to thank you guys for also encouraging me, you know, and I will keep you all updated as we go along as to what's happening with the garden. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful time. Keep safe, pray, and stay away from COVID-19.